All right. I believe, Ephraim, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you weren't sitting here, but I think we called you on Tuesday. You were high up on the 49ers?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I was telling Rob G, I believe Ephraim's big on the 49ers. Well, they made a trade for Sky Moore, the receiver, of course, that was with the Chiefs, didn't really do anything with the Chiefs, and they didn't have to give up much. It's a late round pick in 2027. So essentially got him for nothing there because they know the wide receiver is going through so much that room for them. You got Brandon Ayuk, who is still out. You got Robinson, who is going to have to sit out the first 3 games of the season due to suspension. So they're going through it right now in that receiving core.
Seriously.
So they had to get somebody and hope obviously they can get something out of Sky Moore this season. So with that being said, I look at the 49ers and more specific, I look at Brock Purdy as somebody who now has finally got that sigh of relief. He's got the big money.
Yeah.
He got paid. I believe he was worth it. I thought it would be around where, Rob Parker and Rob and I argued about it for, a handful of weeks as different topics would come up. I thought he got a route right where he should be because I think if he and his agent come into the room and they look at what he's been able to accomplish in comparison to the guys ahead of him, there's very few that could say over the last 4, 5, 6 years, 5 years, I've done as much as he has, excluding a couple of obvious ones. But the rest, I know he can look eye to eye, nose to nose, and be like, why does he deserve 50, 60, and I don't? What has he done? I done been to the Super Bowl, been to NFC Championship. It was an MVP candidate a couple seasons ago. What has he done? So he got the money, and then you can understand, maybe if you're him, you could argue it got a little bit less. But more importantly, even with these injuries, going into this season, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, relatively, say he misses a couple because it's a long season, with Kittle and having that stability of who your coach is, the way he runs the offense, you've been the guy running this, who the general manager is, what the ethos of the team is, how we operate. Even with all these injuries, you got an all-pro in Kittle, you got an all-pro in Christian McCaffrey. Some would say the best running back, some would say second or third, depending on how you want to go with Henry and Saquon. And to me, I view it as you're at the point where there's no excuses. You're at the point where the good to great or the really good to great quarterbacks can still find a way. We're watching a commercial right now. Who did we just see? Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know he ain't Patrick Mahomes. Hear me out. Patrick Mahomes' entire receiving core is depleted. And he still found ways to win. And the best number to me coming from Patrick Mahomes was what he was doing on third down, Ephraim. He was the number 1 quarterback on converting third downs at about 53% of the time. And ultimately, I might not make this pass, or that drive, and that. But when he needed to make a third down to move the sticks, he got it. When he needed to make the play to ice the game, even if we only win by 3, he was able to do that. He's been able to do. We talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady, I got great receivers. I got mid receivers. I got receivers. He was still able to show up. And you see that consistently with the guys who are good, with the guys who are really good to great. They find a way to win games. Maybe I got to use my legs a little bit more. Maybe I got to chip it down a little bit more. Whatever it is, I'm going to help find a way to win this game. So I look at Brock Purdy, and this season for me is last season was your floor. We miss guys. Guys are in. They're out. They're in. They're out. Last season was the floor. Couple have been the ceiling, getting a Super Bowl and being an MVP candidate a couple seasons ago. If you can operate even below the MVP, but near that, we're in a good place because it's my job as a general manager to supply some defensive guys, to get the offensive line right, to even make these types of trades like for Skylar Moore and to see if we can see something. Maybe you make him better than we thought. Maybe he comes up and gets 55, 60 catches, and we're like, all right, we didn't see that coming. But to me, there's not a lot of excuses for him to come in and have some success because you have continuity, and you know how huge that is. When you're getting new offense coordinator, new coach, new this, new that, every year, like a lot of teams do, it's difficult for quarterbacks. So I expect Brock Purdy to still come out, have success. I expect last season to be the floor. He better be the much better version of that. And I don't think there's time for a lot of excuses because a lot of teams go through this and their quarterbacks still show up and make the most of the situation, still find ways to win. Josh Allen, whole receiving core wasn't what it was supposed to be. Stephon Diggs, his best receiver, wasn't doing anything. Then he gets traded. And what does he do? He goes all the way into the postseason and all the way to an MVP. So to me, Brock Purdy, you got to find a way to still make this season good, still find a way to try to get in this postseason, and not use any of these as excuses.
If I were to say to you, if you're running a team, hey, you have an opportunity to draft a quarterback, and after 3 years, he's thrown for 9,500 yards, 64 touchdowns, 27 interceptions, and have a passing rating of 104.9 and win 70% of his games. Oh, by the way, you'll be in an NFC championship game in the Super Bowl in those 3 years. What would you say?
Sign me up.
And what round would you draft that guy?
First round.
So, with all that you just said, and for all the doubters of Brock Purdy and whether he's worth the money or not, the reality of it is those are his numbers.
Facts.
You can, whatever team he's on, whoever he's throwing the ball to, there's been some Hall of Fame players on the team offensively and not have anybody to throw him the ball. So all I'm saying is, and I've had this argument because I remember when he got the start and he was 5-0, and like the story, the legend of that was his origin story. And I was excited for him. And then he came back the next year. He got hurt in the NFC Championship game, came back and took him to the Super Bowl. Like what are we talking about here? If Brock Purdy was a first-round draft pick, everyone in the organization would be celebrating. We got it right. We got the pick right. Because that's all you're doing. All you're doing is measuring after 3 years, after that body of work. You throw for almost 10,000 yards. And, oh, by the way, you didn't even start all of the games your rookie year. You've only gone to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship 2 out of the 3 years. You had an injury-riddled season last year. Now, all of a sudden, you're not a viable quarterback. You're not a good quarterback. Oh, by the way, you played for free.
Yeah.
So all of the, well, it's because of Shanahan. Well, it's because of this. Well, it's because of that. That's what happens when good teams draft players, and it's not when Ben Roethlisberger went to Pittsburgh and became Ben Roethlisberger, they had a number one defense.
Mm-hmm.
They had Jerome Bettis. They had receivers all over the place. We didn't say, well, I mean, look at all the stuff he has. No, because he was a first-round draft pick. So we expected him to do what he did. The fact that Brock Purdy came from absolutely nowhere and took the league by storm all of a sudden created this narrative where, oh, it's because of this and, oh, it's because of that. He still has to be able to throw the ball down the field. You know the reason why he was in there and Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't? Because he could actually throw the ball down the field. He can attack you down the field. He can attack you intermediate and underneath. All the stuff you would want a quarterback to do. So I've always been a Brock Purdy fan, not just because he was a 7th-round draft pick like myself, but because at a certain point, that draft pick doesn't matter. When your opportunity comes, and that's what we talked about last hour with Shedeur. He was like, look, all that's over. All I can control is how I play when I get an opportunity. I don't know when, I don't know where. Brock Purdy didn't know when he was going to play, where he was going to play, how long. But when he did, he played himself into the contract he just got.
And he has done a great job of that. Rob and I argue about that all the time because I was on team. Why would I not pay the guy who has been playing better than? Let's look at the guys, some of these guys who are going to be making more money than him. So right now, Ephraim, he is at the 8th highest paid quarterback, which sounds about right.
Yep.
Because some of them make sense. One doesn't, Dak Prescott, because he can look at Dak and say, why that dude? No, all of them can look at Dak and say, why is he making 60? Dak has had a nice career. He's won a bunch in the regular season. He's put up some numbers, but
because Jerry don't know what he's doing.
Nothing to show for that. But the next guy, Joe Burrow, I mean, he's been to the Super Bowl, so have I.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Brock, you say that. And then he ain't made the postseason last two. Might even be 3 seasons if he doesn't make it this year. But he's at 55. 55 for the next few guys. So Joe Burrow's at 55. Josh Allen's at 55. Jordan Love at 55. I know Jordan Love. I know he's looking at I love you. But, what's love got to do with this? Because why is he making 55? Here's a big one. Trevor Lawrence. Why is he making 55? 2 of them at 53. Jared Goff at 53. That's about right to me. Not biased. I'm just saying he's played as well. He's been to a Super Bowl.
And you are biased, but go ahead.
Okay. Justin Herbert at 52.5. I get a little.
Hey, man. Gunslinger. Nobody has more yards since he's been in the league.
I know. I need some wins, though. But again, if I'm Brock Purdy.
Yeah, but he had 4 years of the worst coach on earth.
I can't argue with you on that. And then Lamar Jackson at 52. We already know.
Okay, so what do we know?
So
all of those guys, except for one, have something in common. Do you know what that is?
All of them have something in common?
Yes. They're all first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
Except for Dak Prescott.
With third, fourth?
Third, I believe.
Third, yeah.
They all have something in common. Right? They all first-round draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
All of this was expected. Some of them have underperformed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, because he was supposed to be the one.
Underperformed.
They've been telling me he is the Andrew Luck reincarnated.
So what I'm telling you is this is the last pick in the entire draft. Mr. Irrelevant they gave him a car because he wasn't going to be able to afford one, and they give him a parade. And all he's done is take a team to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game, and now we want to act like he doesn't deserve to be paid.
I never understood it. I sat here and Rob and yelled.
I don't even know what we're watching the games for.
And yelled at Rob plenty of times about that, because my thing is I have to pay the position, right? And I have to pay it. It's going to get a lot of money. And he has deserved it and he's earned it. What am I going to do? Not pay him and go get somebody else?
Who are you going to get?
Who am I going to get that knows my system, has performed well, and was a large part of why they got to that Super Bowl, because the way he beat the Lions using his legs, throwing the ball.
Saved the franchise from the scrutiny of giving up all they gave up for Trey Lance.
No, that
completely
that
saved
might be the biggest thing.
And that's why you pay the man.
We ain't talking about that. And we had a bus conversation with Rob G. We were talking about who's the biggest bust, and I brought up Trey Lance. I said Trey Lance so bad that nobody even talks about it. Like, he's just floating
that
around.
Man, his money.
So but with all that being said, getting back to the original conversation of them and not having guys, this is why you're paid the money now, because I believe, if I'm the organization, I'm saying we believe that you can fill in the gap.
Of course.
You can make some plays.
They found their quarterback.
That aren't there. You can make, maybe there's 4 games we kind of we're in, but we can lose. You win us 3 of them.
That would have
because
been
of you making winning plays.
After 3 years, them not wanting to pay Tom Brady because he was a 7th-round draft pick.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, and they had to take care of him. They did take care of him, and he's properly paid in the sense of he's 8th. That makes sense, right? He's right where he should be in the league, even his placing and maybe where the quarterback tiers are. So that makes a whole lot of sense to me. But again, for me, I'm looking at it as, all right, man, I know we got some depletion when it comes to a wide receiver room, but I still have high expectations of you. Go find a way to win some of these games, even without.
Yeah, look, man, it's just football. Can you step in and do something with it?